Welcome back. Only just been streaming a moment ago. But yeah, we are back. Slipstream Racing League now. Season 5, which is a milestone. But yeah, it's round 1, Bahrain in the Champions Division. So now we are we are just waiting for lobby to start up, and then we can swiftly go into qualifying here. Well, yeah, black screen now. And now quali will begin. Let's quickly set up my formation. Who will be the first one out this season? Quite a bit of movement in Mercedes, to be exact, both cars, as the Limitless Draco starts to head his way down the pit lane, and his teammate now swiftly following suit, as he will be the first to go out on track. With his teammate and then an Aston, a V-Carb and a Sauber all trailing behind. But yeah, we will now watch him do his outlap, the first outlap of the season to be done here, and then also the first hot lap of the season, and then we'll be back to our usual ways with qualifying, where it's all hot lap after hot lap really, as there is, I want to say, Soggy, who's off track, or is it Quattro Legend? He's found himself in the gravel trap already, just pushing the car in his outlap. Not the best way to take it, but he's done it anyways. And now, starting the lap, here is the Limitless Draco in the Mercedes. Last season it was Aston Martin, now it's in black and silver. Will he perform in the silver arrows, racing up into turn 1 now? DRS wide open, which is when it's in a race, when you're within a second of car ahead, but in qualifying it's free reign. It's all about going as quick as possible in, yeah, track limits is the best way to put it, as he now pushes up into turn 4, heavy on the brakes, just kissing the apex, getting a bit elevated on the curb, but either way he'll keep pushing down the hill. 28.3 at the end of sector 1, still charging on. And now let's see how he goes. He avoids the full width of the corner, avoids brazing the curb, which is good for tyres' sake, as the curves are quite abrasive here especially in the very, very warm conditions of the desert, especially at Bahrain. But anyways, now into turn 10 and 11, I believe it is, maybe 11 and 12. But it is Luminous Draco pushing up 1 minute 7.2 at the end of the middle sector. As into the final corner, what will it be for the Mercedes? Running up to the line now, and it is a 29.5 to start the season. It's an alright banker lap, but will the Aston of DJ Death Dragon nick it? Yes, he will, by 7 tenths. Now as the Red Bull of Hephastaff over the line, he starts a lap now. Into turn 1 he goes, and out of turn 3, really all over that curb, trying to use the full width and full push of the boundaries of the circuit, keeping it quite clean as Konami goes fastest of all, 1.5 clear, as Leo slots himself in second, Quattro in third, as BQC Games sets fastest lap. I'm going to send my stream over now to the league because it's now formatted the link. But yeah, of course, still riding on board with the Fastaff, getting close to the end of the middle sector, and it will be a 1 minute 6.3 come the exit of there, quicker than what Luminous Draco has been doing. And yeah, AMSC's brand fastest man on track, as I've gone off for a moment just to send all the links around, but that's now sorted. Now it's full focus on the event at hand, as there's a lock up by your fastest man at the moment. Let's tune in with Marco though. He's proven to be fast, but this lap really isn't showing it. So now Micromash heading up to the end of the middle sector, 1 minute 6.0, quick enough to probably put him around 5th or 6th. Question will be where though, as Alex is also racing round. We will quickly see what he does. It's a bit slower than what Micromash has been doing. The Alpine now running up to the line, and it will be P7 for the Alpine. And now Lex into the final corner, really chucking the car to the apex, really going full push. And now again running up to the line. What will it be? It's only P9 for the Mercedes. Marco in the pits. Is Brand going to be filing himself in? As BQC Games now, what I think is a hot lap for him. He was slightly improving through the middle, no, not through the middle, through the first sector. Middle sector, he's off bar, and a lock up there to prove it. Massive snap of oversteer, a bit too aggressive in terms of driving, as we are now with Luminous Draco. What can the Mercedes do? Is he on a push lap or is he on an in lap, is the question. But Quattro Legend has just started his out lap here, so I'm assuming all these drivers are in laps. Luminous Draco's Delta also showing that it's probably an in lap for him. So let's ride on board with Quattro Legend. this man 3 seconds off pole at the moment. Not as bad as the Haas in the pit lane of Frustroyer, but could be better, can't it? As slowly coming out of the pits now, the other Sauber of AMS, his brand, esports drivers, all sneaking themselves into this division. You can see based off how it's Alien Motorsports currently holding the fastest lap of the session. And now up to the line to start a lap here for the V-Carb. DRS wide open, just trying to stay in as much of a straight line as possible before you brake at about the 100 bollard. Isn't ideal for him with a Ferrari only just going through turn 1, but then you see behind him there's also Frustroyer in the Haas, so it probably wasn't the best placement as a whole. But there's Quattro Legend at the end of sector 1, finding 3/10 so far. Currently that will only move him up 1 place and swap him and DJ Death Dragon round, but there's a lot more of the lap to do as he finally gets past the Ferrari on an outlap as Isbrand starts his lap. Question is, can that Sauber extend his pole lap margin? Last season it was Sauber who went on to win the Constructors with Hazara, who's currently second, but new competition of his brand currently sitting fastest, still only 3/10 up at the end of the middle sector for Quattro Legend. As you can see just in the background, Ferrari tyre warm-ups. Good chance to get ready for a push lap. Right behind the V-Carb as well, who crosses the line, half a second improvement, 10th fastest. Let's go to the leader, who's invalidated his lap, so we'll go to second fastest. See if Hazara is able to find a lap. He's currently 6 seconds down, so he's doing a second out lap. But this is looking like a really good lap by Rising Star. He was just throwing it in and out of each corner. Could it possibly be a decent run? He's pushed past Hazara, so we can tell it's a flyer. There's a McLaren of Marco, also on a hot lap though. So question is, what will he be doing at the end of the middle sector? It's fastest of all, but will Rising Star nick it from him? No, he's finding a 10th and a half though, which is a very good sign. As Marco through the final corner, slight lock up on the entry, apart from that rolls the car through full throttle now to the line, and it's a 26.6, which is less than half a 10th off, but Rising Star will put Marco closer to that half a 10th mark off pole, as he now goes fastest by 17 thousandths of a second over his brand and 48 thousandths over Marco. But do not count out his brand, he's currently finding a 10th now at the end of sector 1, lock up all the way through turn 10. But anyways, regardless of that, DRS open as he marches his way up into this S of turn 11 and 12. Will he find further improvement to put himself back on top and really stand his ground? He's purple middle sector with only about half a 10th improvement through that middle part of the lap, but regardless of that, gets DRS of course, and then just chucks it in. Nice and wide on entry, but he's gone off, and into the pits the Sauber goes after having a little moment in the final corner, but that really put his lap to bed as the Limitless Draco has just done a lap which puts him into 8th. Never mind, Lex pushes him down. Micro Mash into the pits as Eunice is on an outlap. You can see there's a hard sail for Destroyer. Joys of a brand new season, especially in an ultra competitive league, is there's quite a few new names such as Isbrand, BQC Games, Rising Star, Destroyer, Quattro Legend, all amongst some veteran names from my time commentating, such as Micromash, Hefastaf, Marco, Hazara, Kaname. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt to their driving styles, how they will change to win and adapt, but who knows. V-Carb of Quattro Legend saying he is experiencing major pedal issues, and as a result, if he sees it as too dangerous for others, he will be retiring at some point in the event. So be wary of that if that happens. As Eunice finding half a tenth in sector 1. Regarding he's only 3 seconds down, he's just going to be within 3 seconds down, so there's slight gains. Every half a tenth counts here. But yeah, anyways, through turn 10, now straightening the car out for this long run into turn 11. When you're on your own with only another Sauber and a Ferrari out on track, it can feel like an eternity. But anyways, he's hitting the corners quite well. He's still only a half a tenth up, as Hazara, however, racing towards the end of the sector, he's found 2 tenths. That could be interesting. But anyways, back to Eunice. He's only finding half a second. He's a second off 14th at the moment. Is it going to still be a second? He's found a tenth in the end, just shy of a second, as Hazara full on Tokyo drifting through turn 10, just getting in a full on straight line to just do a little drag race of his own into this turn 11 section, up the hill, off camber, and he's invalidated it, and 2 tenths down. Just shows how much it can change. As Isbrand starts his lap now, gets a slight toe off the Mercedes leaving the garage. 2 minutes left of the session. Hazara's been disqualified from going the wrong way. Oh, how wrong's it gone? And that is not how he wants to do it. As Isbrand is 1.1 down. Maybe it's another hot lap after this. You can tell by the flashing lights he's now harvesting. As everyone's on their outlap now, you can just go through them all. The only one's not, as of now, is Hefastaf and DJ Death Dragon, who have just made their way out onto the circuit. They will have to do a flyer lap to the line if they want another run. But regardless of it, we will go to Lex, who should be the first to start a lap out of this bunch, as Homel joins the session at the very end, so he will be racing. As Lex now doing final preparation for his hot lap. Massive weaves, really trying to get temps up in those tyres so he can go flat out to the line. There's less than a minute. How's DJ Death Dragon and Hefastaf doing? Looks like they should make it, as they are rapidly approaching the final sector. Full on doing a hot lap here. As Alex goes into turn 1 now, through turn 2. For those in chat, who will get pole? I think it's going to be Isbrand. That's if he's doing another lap. If not, then I think it will go to Marco. It's perilously close up top, but for all we know, someone like Lex could come in and swoop it with a mega lap in the end. He's only about 200ths up in sector 1, however. That's still going to see him just over a second shy of Rising Star, who is literally rising up the ranks here. and really being the star of this show under the lights at Bahrain. As Alex powers up to the final sector now, brakes, turns right, no, not turns right, turns left, and now follows it through with a right uphill over the final part of that sector. Now down the run, Isbrand has crashed. You can see a bit of front wing flying off as Lex will run up to the line. He really ignores them yellows, just knowing it's not going to majorly impact his run. But that was a crash and a half by Isbrand. That confirms he won't get there, but Lex goes 7th. Koname goes into the pits. As Leo to the line, it's 8th for him. Hefastaf, he's 2 tenths up as the last man to do his run. Quattro Legend over the line, he's 2 tenths down. He doesn't find anything. Micromash pulling Limitless Draco along. Limitless Draco full on leapfrogs up to 6th. As now it's DJ Death Dragon and Hefastaf, he's up to 11th. Hefastaf, however, he goes 10th. And boy oh boy, that's a session and a half to start the season as well. Went down to the wire, everyone leapfrogging one another with track evolution coming into play. But in the end, it's Rising Star who gets pole. And then it's Yizbrand, Marco, BQC Games, Konami, Limitless Draco, Frizztroyer, Lex, Leo, Hefastaf, Micromash, DJ Death Dragon, Quattro Legend, Eunice, Homel, and then Hazara who got DSQ. Oggy has left because he's not a cross-platform league. But anyways, we have been told ready up at 28 past here. Well, there is 2 minutes before the start of this event, and then I can officially say it's the lights out for the new season here. Well, for those in my chat, if you want to, unless you're a driver getting some prep, who's gonna win? I don't know, I think it'll be Rising Star, but who knows, maybe Hazara can climb through the field from last on the grid, but anything can happen here. We have been given the get-go to ready up. Well, it is now 5 red lights. Clutches have been released and away we go to start the season here. Oggitz has joined the session. He's in V-carb in 14th, but there's already action into turn 1. We're just going to let us all view the havoc unravelling as Rising Star will get away safely in first, as there is BQC and Marco wheel to wheel into turn 4. The McLaren on the outside. The McLaren stays ahead for now and will move across to confirm the position as it's already kicking off. You can see down the hill, a bit wide by BQC, but there's a Leo round the outside of Konami, who's on the older and more durable tyres, which are the hards. So it's really going to be a matter of fact who can keep track position in these earlier stages. If the hard drive runners can, their life will be 10 times easier come the end, as Hazara already on a march, starting last up to 12th. So that already showing quite a bit about that. Just looking at position change on lap 1 alone, Hazara up 5. So that says a lot, but it's quite colourful. Most of the drivers are on the hards, but then there's 1 or 2 on the softs, with a few others on the mediums, meaning it's all going to be about who can keep track position, especially with those softer compounds being used by quite a few. As they all pull up to the line, you can just see the smoke clouds up from where the lines all overlap, as it's one big snake here, as if it's esports, because that's the best way to describe this league. It's ultra competitive, as the limitless Draco finds himself in P4. Lex has moved up to P7, and Mercedes both on the softs being aggressive. But there are 29 laps, so maybe it could be a 2-stopper for some, maybe 1-stoppers for all, as the limitless Draco, fastest man on track in that first sector at least. It's good for Mercedes' bid, especially trying to push up. You can see there he had a look to the outside of Marco, who was defending the man behind him only a lap ago of BQC Games. But currently the train just continues. It's all splitting up a bit towards the back. Micromash defending Hommel in the other McLaren, as Eunice pulls to the inside, as there's a ghosted Oggitz who is AI, and there's Rising Star, who now charges up to the line to start a 3rd lap. But question is Brand close enough? Look at how close he is. Limitless Draco have the fastest man on track, and Brand moves up into 1st as a limitless Draco to the outside of Marco. They're still dueling. Limitless Draco will just pull ahead though of the hard runner of Marco. As you can see in the background, Hazara making his 6th place in this event, as he's now P11 in that Ferrari at the back of the pack. He's got Leo in about 8th though to support him, as this is really a drive to remember for Limitless Draco. He's found quite a few places, especially in the foreground of the field, starting 7th if I'm correct, and already finding his way up to 3rd. DRS now being used by Rising Star to A, defend from Limitless Draco, and B, close up to Isbrand, who is really dropping the ball here in under the lights in Bahrain, as he's gone fastest in the middle sector. No one seems to have taken it so far, and it doesn't look like it will be taken by anyone. But look at how close Draco is to Rising Star. I will not be surprised if there's an overtake here, and again they just all get as close to the line as possible. And there's the Limitless Draco, there's Rising Star, and the Star is only falling down now, as it is 3rd place now for the Red Bull, who got a shock pole on debut. but only just working his way backwards. He's dropped to 5th now, and there's Konami to the inside. He's losing it all now. He was literally first at the start of lap 2. Never mind, in fact, start of lap 3, and he's fighting over 4th, defending for dear life against Konami. But that just shows how quickly things can change here, as Cesaro is up into the top 9, so he is on a charge just on himself. So yeah, you can see the unison of the two Ferraris just behind the Mercedes of Lex. But Draco just getting closer and closer to the leader. He's just becoming more and more appealing, gaining another place, especially in the thought that this could be a win if it's played right. Because if they can go long enough, which I don't think they will be able to, they could go soft to mediums, but I think their strategy will be soft to hards, whereas the hard runners will be hard to mediums, which will give them a bit more life at the end. But there's Limitless Draco gaining on his brand. It will be the 3rd new leader here, as Mercedes now lead, as both Homerail and Ogix goes off, as Ogix comes in on lap 4 for his sake. But Konami up to 4th, Rising Star falling even further back. As Marco also quite close. Now looking at a possible move around the outside of Rising Star. At this rate I'm going to start calling him Falling Star, as their quali pace has really overshadowed their performance this event, because qualifying pole, but they're now only 5th after 5 laps. On average, losing a place a lap isn't the best look for a driver at this elite stage. As is brand close enough to possibly make it 4th change of lead, as he could possibly become the 4th leader of this race. He was also the 2nd leader, but look at how there's 2 dueling into turn 1. But then they've all pulled to the inside for the tow on BQC, who actually makes it 2 losses for Limitless Draco. Rising Star defending the McLaren, really getting squabblish on those hards, especially in these earlier stages. As Rising Star, only a 10th improvement. Well, Rising Star now in a good place, I'd say. Could be better, but yeah. I'm gonna check my mic. Yeah, it works. I should have done it pre-stream, but yeah, just in rush. But yeah, could it be the 4th constructor and 5th new driver into the lead? 4th constructor, 4th new driver, and 4th change for the lead here, as BQC Games follows Isbrand, getting close, pulls to the outside, and there goes the Sauber, follows behind, and he's now leading this race as Quattro Legend into the pits. He's on the mediums, so that's rather early for the medium runners, respective to how the softs are currently running, as is Brand back into 1st into turn 4. That's the interesting place to do it, regarding how all the changes for lead has gone in turn 1. So it's really going to be a race about DRS here. As Rising Star has fallen another place, P6 now, as Ogix has left session again, 21 seconds back from the rest of the field. But what's really caught my eye is first time in a while we see basically the whole top 11 all in one line still. They're all so tightly compact in this early stage on so many various strategies. There's at least 2 people on each compound in the top 11, and they're all just following suit with one another. As again, Konami this time getting close to Luminous Draco. He's moved himself up as the lead doesn't change into turn 1. Currently, Isbrand just had a big enough gap to hang on. Hefastaf dueling with Leo over P9 though. DRS for both though. It's going to be a drag race up into turn 4. They're going to start dropping off as Hefastaf will get 9th over Leo. As Hazara, who's really gone that unquestioned 17th to 7th so far, and we're only lap 8, and it looks like he's looking for his next piece of prey, and it is this man in the Red Bull who's only gone south from his peak in qualifying. But you can just see from the McLaren's rear wing that they are close. But is it close enough? But regardless of that, we are going to see how this plays out. Marco getting closer to Luminous Draco. The soft's really wearing out now, and this is the 8th lap of use. So is it almost time to pit? Is the Luminous Draco going to keep pushing it along? Marco in the pits. No, not in the pits. 3 seconds of penalties though. As Rising Star, is he about to finally move back up? No, he won't. As Leo, Hefastaf and Frizz all swapping places round. That's just flipped on its head, as that's becoming a little battle of its own. You can see that the Mercedes of Lex on the softs has dropped off, and then so has 9th, 10th and 11th due to their very aggravated battle between one another. Rising Star and Hazara are both perilously close to the back of Marco, who's extremely close to the back of Luminous Draco. You can just see how difficult it is to get past, especially how Luminous Draco found all the track position when he had the tyre benefit over the likes of the McLaren, and then just staying in DRS range of the likes of Konami, pulling him along, keeping him in this race for another lap. Just genius way, but very effective way on pushing himself up the pecking order bit by bit. And so let's be honest, the Mercedes very capable of pulling a very early undercut, go to the end on hards if he can make it to about lap 13 or so. But you can see it's time for the pits. In comes the other Merc as well, so we're going to see a double stack here. There's a Luminous Draco, there's Lex. It's gone wrong, as in comes Lex now. Quattro Legend, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Micro Mash now hitting the back of DJ Death Dragon, telling him in a way to get a wiggle on, as they are 6 seconds off this battle over 7th, which was 9th before the 2 Mercedes started into the pit lane. And now question is really, how will the Mercedes treat these hards? 9 lap older than the leaders, but it's going to be an undercut more or less, and then the leaders will probably be pitting round 5-6 laps time, so it could go either way here. as BQC Games still leads in Bahrain, but you can see how compact that line is. They're all hard runners in the top 7, the top 6 all on hards, and they're all split by about 2.5 seconds. Question is, who's going to go into the pits first and trigger it all to unravel, as that's a ballsy and fairly dangerous move by Isbrand. You saw how Kaname had to jolt left because of Isbrand's jolt, and they will continue dueling. DRS, however, for Kaname, opportunity down the inside, up into first goes the Alpine, and that is another leader in this race, as Marco's defending for dear life against Rising Star, who is trying to recover from the earlier stages, who went down the inside there. If you could just see, they're still wheel to wheel, but Rising Star just not enough traction to compete with the McLaren in this stage. However, Hazara, how is he going to cope? He isn't going to go for it. They've all basically confirmed their choice not to overtake in that turn 10, turn 11 section, as Quattro Legend has a moment. He ain't really being too much of a legend here. Maybe a legend for the wrong reasons, but it's just not been the race of his career to go in his Wall of Fame, where there'll probably be a bunch of gold for him. As this duel continues. And then Mr. Aiko, however, which we haven't really covered, he's on the back of Homel now. Could possibly see an overtake in the next few laps, and if so, could it be worth watching, as these three still going at it, almost like a little football match, keeps changing. Every kick of the ball is like every corner here, constantly changing, as Limitless Draco, you can tell on the mini-map in your bottom right, moves up into 12th. But Homel will still hang on. It's still not the Mercedes fully yet. I think what will have to be done is, the moment Homel gets overtaken fully by Limitless Draco, that's the leader's cue to pit. And that could be this lap. Because the moment he's set free, 1 or 2 laps and he will easily be within a pit stop. And that's not what the leaders want. There's the mark. Who gets really close. He had a look. But now this is where it gets dictated. And now there's a Limitless Draco to the inside. He's up to 12th. Quite typical. But then Homel, still only 3-4 tenths off. Could he possibly flip it on its head? As something has happened. BQC now off the road, retires from session, and based off what I saw was he just went head on. He's now saying something in chat regarding it. He's just gone, bro, my fucking wheel. So I think it was a wheel problem which has seen him retire here. Unfortunate for the Dutchman. He says starts turning himself. If I was mean, I'd say skill issue, but yeah, it's all gone wrong for the Haas driver. As Quattro Legend has also retired from the session in the pits. The duel still continuing up front, however, as Hazara moves up into third, as Kaname moves up to first. The two icons in this league, two main rivals, still trying to find their way at the foreground here. As the two medium runners of Leo and Hefastav have pitted, and Limitless Draco now P9, so we can really work out where they lie. They're about 21 seconds off the lead. I'd say it's about 22.5 for a pit stop, so they should make it. But that's just me chucking some numbers at you, whereas I don't really know. BQC has said in chat, my wheel has no feedback and it's such a small turning circle. So yeah, it was a wheel related problem, which is again very unfortunate, but that's one less contender, which arguably makes this race a bit more exciting, as there's more opportunity for someone to shockingly go from 5th to 1st, as there will be one less car to defend and one more car to attack in a sense. But Hazara getting close, looks to the inside, but chooses otherwise. Will he go for it here though? Up into turn 4, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th all have DRS, first don't. And that's due to the fact you have to be within a second of the car ahead when going across one of the detection points, which you can see just entering final corner and entering turn 1 on your mini-map in the bottom right. But apart from that, that's all you need to know in terms of F1 basics. Limitless Draco now approximately 22 seconds off the lead, if I'm doing my maths right, but it's quite rushed, so don't trust me with my numbers, because yeah, I'd personally pit around lap 16 if I was a leader. Gives them about 7 laps advantage over the two Mercedes. Will allow them to breeze past, even though the hards will probably be equivalent life to the mediums within about 5 laps. As this battle continues, one more lap, as Alex has moved up past Hummel to the outside, and past goes Kaname. But there's Isbrand, the Alpine just staying ahead. DRS now in play, battery also in use for the Alpine, and you can just see how fucking close they are to one another. It's like one big line, as that's like a nice cinematic shot, and so is that. But yeah, deltas will come back in a second, don't you guys worry. It's just so you can all see a lovely view of that duel. But that's the issue, that when it comes down here you tend not to see them due to the width of that side panel. It's really a rainbow up front, ain't it? Blue, green, orange, red, blue. Nice and colourful. If you were to just see it on the starting grid, it'd be a sight to see. As the Limitless Draco is catching Marco Mash, Marco drops down behind Hazara, who was the world champion last season. So they just have to bear in mind that they are fighting the World Drivers' Champion, the same guy who won the Constructors, and also the runner-up in the drivers last season, who also won in a different division. So some fairly big names in this league. Not like there's much added pressure for the more amateur drivers of the bunch, such as Rising Star, of course being in their earlier races in this league. As a Falstaff and Leo catching legs could be an interesting battle in the later stages with those three. But then that also somewhat adds up. 8 seconds between legs. No, Limitless Draco and their Falstaff. Roughly where Frizz Destroyer is. So we know they are somewhat matching. But Isbrand first to pit. And now it becomes a 4-horse race as Frizz Destroyer follows the Sauber in. Probably going, he knows what he's doing. As they go on to the yellow ball mediums. This is where it really becomes one-sided. It's either going to be medium or hard runners to see it on top. But it will be biased more to the medium runners. But where does his brand come out? Just ahead of Limitless Draco. So you would have thought the Mercedes was lapping quicker, based off catching the cars ahead. Instead, he was only actually matching the leader's pace. Falstaff moving up against Lex, but then dropping straight back down as Leo compromises himself. And now we'll two with Falstaff down the inside though, and he will hold on to P11, but they will keep dueling downhill, nice and twisty, almost like a snake. They're still going at it, but Leo will slot in behind and take 12th for his own sake, as his brand is very close to possibly catching Micromash and Death Dragon. Will any of these leaders be brave enough to pit now? No, they've all gone out another lap. Marco loses a place to Rising Stars. There goes Hazara into the lead. Ferrari now screaming Hazard, whereas it was Sauber only a few weeks ago as the reigning world champion takes the lead once more here. Why did I say once more? It's his first time leading, but you get my gist, he's leading one more event. But yeah, his brand has dropped to Limitless Draco by 2 seconds now, as Leo, Lex and Falstaff dueling, looking like the Piston Cup, like it was straight out of Disney Pixar cars. Mercedes being Chick X, Lightning McQueen in the Ferrari and Red Bull being the king. But despite that analogy, it is a battle which will last a while. Too close to my bedtime chat. But yeah, will any of these hit on lap 19 of 29? Give them only 10 laps on the other tyres. Is Brand in a really good position as Hazara and Marco come in? Can our men Rising Star stay out one more lap or more? Where does Marco and Hazara come out? Hazara leading the two, and in comes DJ Death Dragon and Micromash. Is Brand fastest a lap? He's set the circuit purple of 30.7. Hazara, Marco, Frizz Destroyer all on softs as they come out around the Limitless Draco. Hazara just ahead, Marco just behind. So Kaname and Rising Star may want to bear that in mind, as there's quite a few soft runners now Destroyer, DJ Death Dragon and Macromash all following them with their tyre choice. Big opportunity to maybe find Destroyer and P7 come to the finish line, as the Limitless Draco really burning up his tyres. He's on 10 lap old hard as he's gone off and lets Marco by, possibly for sake of DRS if he has it, which looks like he does, as Hazara just has 3 seconds to catch his brand. And this is where I can say the pack is now really splitting up, as the top 2 now come in, Konami rushing first, then Rising Star in second. Question is, will his brand, who is now leaving the final corner, as I've said, leaving when he enters. You can see down the pit lane the Red Bull goes. It's not going to be close, as his brand leads away on lap 21. Konami and Rising Star both ahead of Limitless Draco. Done a quick enough in lap just to see him ahead of the hard compound runner. And now they're all going to be chasing Hazara, who is chasing his brand. So could go either way now. Who will win? I'll let you guys in chat decide that. I personally think it will be Hazara come the line. Maybe his brand, who's had a stellar performance to start his campaign this season. As now, a big question is who's going to get fastest lap. Is brand, of course, setting it in about mid 130s. Will the likes of Hazara or Marco set it? Hazara finding a second improvement, and he is chipping away at the Sauber ahead of him. Feels awkward seeing the Ferrari racing after his former team again at the fore end, whereas Ferrari really wasn't there as much last season. 1 or 2 events, but Hazara, he's in the 129s, showing massive threat here, as Konami, Rising Star and Marco all have a little squabble over position, not really working together in a way which they will catch Hazara, but they will probably catch his brand come the end. It's just a matter of fact whose tyres burn out quickest, but then due to the tyre deltas, the mediums probably matching in terms of tyre life as the softs are, but then pace still leaning to softs for about another 2-3 laps. Then it will start to pendulum swing its way over to Sauber. Are Sauber saying Hazara because Hazara isn't winning? Are Ferrari saying Hazara in hope that the Ferrari will get the lead, as the gap's now 1.2 between the Ferrari and the Sauber, and it's about 2.8 between the top 3 here, so it's all to play for still. Konami 1.8 seconds improvement. Could he be going for a fastest lap attempt? As you can see, he's slightly chipping away at Hazara, who has just crept into DRS range. Big opportunity to go even quicker now. Will the Ferrari, who was slightly off his personal best, Konami goes another 6 tenths quicker than Hazara. That's big times already being showed off, as Rising Star up into P3 now. Micromash 10-second penalty speeding into pit lane. He will retire. He was probably going to put another set of softs on, I'll be honest, just to try and go for fastest lap, regarding he would have been clear of Vogix and therefore clear of Eunice, who's really been pacing himself, is the best way to say it. As we could possibly see Isbrand meet his teammate come the end of the race. Look at how close this is. The Ferrari seeing the unleashed rear wing as clear as day, but soon he won't be able to, as hopefully soon he will be ahead of the Sauber. Let's see though. Is Brand out of the final corner. Look at how much the Ferrari is gaining before the DRS zone even starts. And there is Cesaro up into the lead here, as Konami into third over Rising Star. Big chance now for Cesaro to pull away, but DRS in play for the Sauber as third, fourth and fifth getting perilously close to rejoining this train and boosting their bids at possibly changing it up at the foreground in the later stages. Cesaro only half a second clear of his Brand. He has the pace to take the lead, but does he have the pace to break a second from second and reassure he has the lead? There's Eunice in his own dreamland, pacing himself as Cesaro and that start that long straight. That just shows how close they are to one another. There's Cesaro, another lap done. Lap 25 now, as Rising Star puts himself up into the podium to really shine bright on his debut. Well, season 5 debut for Red Bull. But question now, will they be able to put themselves even higher than third? They are now within a second of Isbrand, who is getting slightly closer each lap to losing DRS range from Cesaro, who is still setting fairly solid pace, respective of how poor that car should now be in terms of tyre life compared to the Sauber. As you can see, the Sauber's slightly catching again, with some DRS assistance of course on that previous straight. But as the corners tick down, the laps will also be ticking down. The straights to overtake will be ticking down. It's going to get tighter and tighter as it gets closer and closer to the end. What Cesaro will want to try and do is catch Eunice for a DRS zone. If he can do that, then he will have some defence for one straight at least, as it's only 2 tenths going into turn 1 between top 2. It was about 4 or 5 tenths a lap ago. Just shows how much more life the mediums now have over the softs, or at least Cesaro softs. Whereas for the likes of Rising Star and that, there's another lap left in them. But that's the thing with some league races, like one lap of tyre life literally grants you a win. So that's what they have to consider. And now, one more straight's gone. They literally have 13 straights left, and this, what they've just entered, is one of those final 13. Just consider that for a moment. And for all we know, this man may not even be on the podium, but I'm not going to jinx it now, as he is about a second or so off getting into DRS range of Eunice, who really isn't going to put up a fight being lapped car. As there's Rising Star down the inside of Isbrand. Isbrand will hang on though and be closer than he has ever been to Hazara. Is he going to go to the inside? No, he won't. But Konami round the outside of Rising Star. But Rising Star just has the line to hang on. But irrespective of that, there goes Konami again. Up into P3 goes the Alpine. As Hazara, he needs DRS now. I don't think he'd need it in this section in particular, because we have not really seen any overtaking happen here, but it's just enough to see him at least a bit more of a gap, which could save him a lap. It's really about pacing through here though, but you will probably see him move up into the lead. Yeah, there's the lapped car pulling to the inside. Blue flags being waved from marshal posts, but Hazara strategically hanging back could be giving him a 5-second for ignoring flag posts, but that's Hazara just reassuring himself, because there is now 5 straights now as they enter turn 1 left of this race. Literally, well, not 5 straights, 5 overtaking straights. When I say that, I mean DRS zones. But yeah, it's really, really tight now, with very finite time left. Rising Star, could he push himself onto the podium? He's already proven he can, but just not able to as of now. But this is some like peak racing from the league as a whole. Like, it's really top end in what they can produce. As I did say when Fristroyer pitted, that he could end up in P7 now. P7 he is, and looks like he has built a big enough gap over Leo to reassure he will get it. That's really like 2 separate battles, one at foreground, one at rear end, and then 1 or 2 just in there in road. I like Hommel, like Eunice, like not Lex, Limitless Draco. But final lap now, Isbrand less than a 10th under braking, but he isn't ahead. Really the final opportunity of the race. Of course there's another DRS zone, but there hasn't been overtaking there. He hasn't seized the opportunity. He probably won't get another opportunity. Hazara probably saving battery, but a little wobble there by the Ferrari means anything's available now for the Sauber to possibly nick it, as Hazara isn't within DRS range of Oggy. There's DRS burning all the battery now by Hazara, knowing he has to defend here, because if he can't here he won't win. And that threat has been cancelled out as he survived that run into the S section. Look at how close Eunice is getting. He's gone off track though, really showing he's pushing, really showing he wants it. Konami now right over the back of him. It's going to be a run to the line, but it will be Hazara who wins. Isbrand pushes Konami off the road on the way to the line. That could be reviewed post-race, but it will be Hazara, Isbrand, Konami, Rising Star, Marco, then Limitless Draco heading into 6th. Then it's Fristroyer, Hefastaf, Leo, Lex, DJ Death Dragon, Hommel, who's in 12th. Ogix 13th, and then Eunice in 14th. Rising Star said nice moving under breaking mate, and Kaname saying that's a pen. So fair chance that Kaname and Rising Star will lift themselves up a place. Same said for Marco, to be fair. But we are waiting for this man to reach the line. And then the V car behind. And that is the race. The season opener come to a close. Zara, driver of the day. I'll give it to him. Last to first. It was an absolute outstanding drive by the Newman in Ferrari. He was literally in Sauber 2 weeks ago, standing on top step of the podium to lift the championship trophy in Qatar. No, not Qatar, in Abu Dhabi, I think it was. But yeah, that really shows quite a bit and really hypes up the remainder of this season, which I'm glad to be saying I should be commentating. But there's your finishing order: Zara, Isbrand, Kaname, Rising Star, Marco, Limitless Draco, Frustroyer, Hefastaf, Leo, Lex, Death Dragon, Hommel, Ogix, Eunice. Then your 3 retirees: Micromash, BQC Games, and Quattro Legend. For those who stayed with me for duration, hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you can see more of this, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.